Seth Rollins told Dean Ambrose, and I quote, "It's time for you to grow a set." And Dean Ambrose did just that. He went to our general manager, Summer Rae, laid down a challenge to the Florida heavyweight champion, and now that moment is here. Is that man the next Florida heavyweight champion? When Seth Rollins provided that aggressive advice to Dean Ambrose, little did he know that 2 weeks later, this would be the setting. The rematch of rematches. One more time to decide who is the man in Florida Championship Wrestling. A hush of excitement inside the FCW arena, growing anticipation about what we are about to see take place inside this squared circle.
Look at the eyes of
Introducing first, he is the challenger from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing 225 pounds, Dean Ambrose. And his opponent from Davenport, Iowa, weighing 209 pounds, he is the reigning Florida heavyweight champion, Seth Rollins.
One of the claims that Seth Rollins made 2 weeks ago was that Dean Ambrose was not focused, perhaps too hung up on you, William Regal. What are your thoughts right now as Dean Ambrose seemingly focused on one thing, the Florida Heavyweight Championship? What are your thoughts on his chances?
Dean Ambrose has obviously got just as much chance as anybody else. I'm in a strange situation here. I know exactly what it feels like to compete against Dean Ambrose. I know, and I've said this many times here, that I have a feeling, an instinct, that Dean Ambrose will be the man that finishes my career. It's a daunting thought that you're looking at the man that will end your run and put you out of an industry that you love. I don't know why I feel that, but I do feel that. And I'll be quite honest with you, I'm trying to prolong my being around because I still feel like I have something to contribute. And as gung-ho as I was originally to bait Dean Ambrose, sometimes you have to question yourself, is it the smart thing to do? The older I've got, the more I want to stay around a little longer. So, not quite yet. He's not having what he wants, and that's me.
Look at Dean Ambrose controlling Seth Rollins in the early going, which is, I think, what he wants. He wants to show the champion that, you know, he grew a pair, if you want to say it that way.
Well, and you got to remember, the history these two men have. This goes back a year ago when Seth Rollins was the Jack Briscoe 15 champion. And the very moment that Dean Ambrose came onto the scene here in FCW, he challenged Seth Rollins, and those two had perhaps one of the most competitive series of competitive matches we've ever seen here. Watch out, cover. We've ever seen in the history of FCW, and once again now to see that rivalry renewed, but with higher stakes, the Florida Heavyweight Championship, and look immediately, Dean Ambrose perhaps looking for a submission of sorts on Seth Rollins.
Well, I think he just picks the body part and he will start to weaken it and make it to his advantage. And as you said, Dean Ambrose changes lives. He came down here and he started wrestling Seth Rollins, and that changed Seth Rollins' life. And my commentary partner here, Sir William Regal, it certainly changed his life, because I remember before he wrestled him first, he was kind of more upbeat, and now he's a little quiet over here after you stood in the ring with him. Isn't that right,
Folks,
William?
I apologize, but we've got to take a commercial break. We promise we will bring you the continuation of this Florida heavyweight title match between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We're back on FCW television. Florida heavyweight title on the line. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. The energy in the FCW arena is at a fever pitch. Oh, full out cover here. Split down the middle between supporters of Dean Ambrose and supporters, watch out again, and supporters of Seth Rollins.
See Dean Ambrose going after the arm again, trying to weaken Seth Rollins here. There's a method to his madness. Look at that stalemate right here.
And,
look at the heads. See how the heads are interlocked, but they try to push each other back.
Each man looking for the added advantage that they can capture in the early going of this match. And I have to ask you, Antonio Cesaro, I mean, you've traveled a similar road that both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have prior to even joining the ranks of FCW. What motivates these two men?
Oh, they just want to be the best. Like, I am the best. They just want to be the best, and they'll do everything to prove it. And as you saw by Dean Ambrose, he doesn't stop at anything. And Seth Rollins, you see every time he comes out here, he shows you something new, and he has that fire. And that's what such competitive individuals, that's what they drive them. That's what makes them get up every single morning, work out even harder every single day. They want to be the best. They want to prove it to everybody.
Do you know one thing that is very surprising to anyone that's watching Dean Ambrose here is that, to put it bluntly, he comes across as somewhat of a mental case.
No cover.
And there's no way that you can be as warped as this individual and be such a skilled grappler as he is. As we're seeing here, you know, he obviously he likes to play into that role that he to throw his opponents off, that he's completely deranged. But this man is a man that's spent hours and hours and obviously years on the mat becoming a truly great grappler, and it's very surprising to me.
Well, there's a fine line between genius and crazy, and I think Dean Ambrose is walking that line quite successfully. Like you said, he's definitely a very, very skilled grappler.
A brilliant technician, and we know what an incredible technician Seth Rollins is. But Dean Ambrose, very surprising.
Left assistant here, Seth Rollins.
Getting the best of that exchange here as he goes for the cover.
See how quick Seth Rollins adapted there. He was going for a drop kick while Dean Ambrose was holding onto the ropes, and Seth Rollins saw that and was able quickly enough to turn that move around and land back on his feet to still have the advantage. That's the kind of competitor that Seth Rollins is.
Both these men going toe-to-toe, at least momentarily. I think it's very interesting. Seth Rollins referred to both himself and Dean Ambrose as lifers here in FCW.
See, what is a lifer? I'm not from this country. English is not my first language. Please explain to me, Brian Saxon, what is a lifer?
It means, I believe the way that it was spoken, it means that they're both in this industry for the rest of their lives. And as yourself, and I'm another one, and that's the reason that I want to stay around a little longer.
I have cover here by Rollins.
I'm very cautious of Dean Ambrose because I know what the reason I took a liking to him straight away is because, and I've said it on this show, I've got a villainous streak in me, and I see that in the eyes of Dean Ambrose. I'm very proud of the fact that I can look in my three sons' eyes and they look back at me not with my eyes, with that evil and spiteful streak that I've got. I look in his eyes and I see that. I see that, as I've said before, that somebody will stop at nothing and has nothing but devious intentions on his mind. I know what that is because I've lived that.
That's why you like him.
That's why I like him. But that's also why I've become very cautious. I don't want to finish my career quite yet, and he will finish it for me if I let him.
Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of
look at that
finishing,
does it look familiar to you there, Williams?
Certainly does, yes. And this is something I believe. You know, Seth Rollins is right. Dean Ambrose has become a little obsessed with me. And good, and that's what I wanted at first. But I I've just mentioned that I've got three sons. I've got the
twins.
Yeah, I've got the twins as well, and I've got to pay for them, and I don't want to quite finish off yet.
See, that's what I thought. You were quite anxious to wrestle Dean Ambrose at first.
Midnight special. Ambrose trying to set Rollins up.
Now that you wrestled him, it seems like you're going to prolong your next match a little bit longer. That's very interesting to see how that goes.
Look at Seth Rollins now.
Momentum changed back here. Seth picked up the pace.
Picking it up big time.
Every time Seth changes his pace and picks up the speed, it's very different for his opponent to adapt, as you've seen right here. And he'll have the advantage. And he's so good at changing his speed up. And it gives him such a big advantage. It makes him very, very hard to deal with when you're in the ring.
Rollins has such a multifaceted attack, which he loves to employ. But Dean Ambrose, again, showing some of that mental wherewithal, scouting Seth Rollins, knowing what Seth Rollins likes to do, and finding a way to stop it.
Look at that, a very dangerous position again for both of them. Being on the top rope there.
Uh-oh.
That can hurt both competitors.
High wrist!
Now, I know exactly what's happening here, and I know what it feels like. When I competed against Dean Ambrose, as you probably remember, I dislocated his shoulder. I damaged his arm so much, you can see the way that he landed there, that the tendons in his arm aren't quite healed. And you can see the pain. I know, because I've dislocated my shoulder several times, and I know it's the most painful injury that I've ever had in 29 years of competing. And you can see that pain in his face now. Look at the way it's hanging out of the socket.
Folks, we have to take a break. Something is clearly wrong with Dean Ambrose. This is our last break, I promise. This main event match continues. Welcome back to FCW Television. This is our main event. The rematch of rematches one last time. Florida heavyweight champion Seth Rollins defending against Dean Ambrose. But right now, this match has been called into question because Dean Ambrose apparently has injured his shoulder.
Look, you can see the muscle separation in his shoulder blade there. That's the sign of at least a separation.
What he's doing.
He's trying to pop that shoulder back into place. See, what people don't understand is that superplex is such a dangerous move because it hurts both opponents. All it needs is one of the boards on the ring to pop back up and hurt your shoulder like Dean Ambrose just did.
But this what makes Dean Ambrose special in a very special kind of way. He's so willing to cause... Dean Ambrose is so willing to compete here and has that streak that he needs to win, that he's willing to try and force his shoulder back in the socket so he can continue.
Oh, that shoulder's not looking any better, but Seth Rollins is still coming. Full throttle.
Look at that.
Center of the ring, hooks the leg. And, for all the preparation I'm sure Dean Ambrose has done, I would highly suggest that Ambrose did not expect something like this to happen. Watch Seth. Ambrose rolling up, and you see barely able to even grip Seth Rollins because of that bad shoulder.
Now, Will, let me ask you, did you have fun when you dislocated his shoulder?
Of course I did.
Good.
I tried for such moments.
I expected nothing less from you. I would have had the same.
Do you know, while I'm sat here, I'm starting to get that desire again. And it's not that I'm seeing a wounded man in front of me, but it's the fact that I'm remembering every blow that took place between me and Dean Ambrose, and perhaps it's time for me to give it all I've got and finish myself off if need be.
Folks, we cannot lose sight of what is happening before our very eyes. Dean Ambrose essentially is a one-armed man competing against Seth Rollins for the Florida Heavyweight Championship.
See, I think that may make Dean even more dangerous, that his arm is hurt, because he knows now that Seth, as soon as Seth will get a chance, he will go after that arm, and now he has to do everything.
Of course it is. It's like cornering a rat.
Yes.
It will attack with everything that it has.
Maybe that's why you would like to wrestle him right now, because you thrive for those challenges.
It's true, yes. That's what I live for. Who am I kidding? That's the reason I like Dean Ambrose. I'm a villain. That's what I love about myself. That's how I've managed to steer the course in this industry, and I love seeing that.
Dean Ambrose, bad shoulder and all, has now locked on the figure 4 in the center of the ring on the Florida heavyweight champion.
Look how smart it is, because he can give his shoulder a rest while he inflicts pain on Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins, as I said earlier, when he can change that momentum, when he can pick up the speed, he's so dangerous. Right now, Dean Ambrose takes the speed away.
Can I just interrupt you?
Please.
When do you ever see anybody add that extra bridge into a figure 4 leg lock, though? That genius.
You know, I'm beginning to think, and we know Dean Ambrose embraces unpredictability, and perhaps this whatever degree of shoulder injury that he's dealing with, perhaps this has pushed Dean Ambrose over the edge to make him that much better.
See, I must agree. I'm rooting here for Dean Ambrose, because I don't like Seth Rollins very much, but this is a joy to watch.
Why don't you like Seth?
Well, do we really need to explain that?
So
you know those people you just don't like because the way.
Have you been watching the competition between Antonio and Seth over the several times?
Saying,
he comes out dancing. He comes out dancing. He swings the belt around. What's wrong with those kids today?
Let me just explain to anyone at home. 99% of people will never have dislocated a shoulder. Your body actually goes into shock. My body was, you actually retch. You're in so much pain. It's undescribable, the amount of, your body, your whole nervous system really repels
against.
Wait a minute,
small package roll-up, countered by Dean. And again, how he does that with one arm.
Look at that, did you see that? That kick went right to the shoulder. Seth is so accurate with those kicks. Don't get me wrong, Seth is a tremendous competitor. Even though I don't like him, I don't take anything away from his ability.
Look at this, Seth. Dean Ambrose rolling down his right knee pad, targeting.
Those two men have each other so well scouted. You saw there when Dean Ambrose went for his clothesline, and then Seth Rollins went for that.
Ambrose, knee trembler to the head. We may have a new champion. I mean, like Dean Ambrose or not, I mean, what an incredible feat it would be to not only defeat Seth Rollins, but to do it with just one arm.
And look at Seth Rollins being able to get away after that move. That move has put many people away.
Look at this.
Look
at this, trying to push his shoulder back in the joint so he can continue. Don't get anything wrong about the way, the dynamic between myself and Dean Ambrose. And I truly don't respect hardly any man on the earth. I respect him. I admire people's qualities, but he may be one of the small handful of people that I actually respect, because I know what it takes to be such a demonic force, and he definitely is a villain.
I've seen his shoulder pop out while he's working out, and he just deals with the pain and goes back to it. And that's what he does right here.
Wait a minute. Dean Ambrose isn't going for another superplex here.
Everything you would think he would not do, he probably is doing. That's what Dean Ambrose does best. He's unpredictable.
Dean, perhaps.
Look at Seth Rollins here.
Whatever may transpire here in just a moment could certainly put the career of either Ambrose or Rollins at heavy risk. We've seen this before. Now Rollins couldn't even execute the maneuver. We know Rollins likes to slam his opponent into that corner, but...
See what I told you earlier about slowing Seth down. Oh,
my gosh. Rollins connects. Ambrose is out.
This is such a great match right here.
But can Rollins capitalize?
We're seeing two true warriors of the Canvas Wars here. It's a joy to watch. You can feel the excitement. Everybody here in the FCW arena, and anybody that's watching this is watching. Look at that. A truly classic encounter.
Stop off the rope. Is this it?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look, all the people here at the FCW Arena are on their feet.
How did Dean Ambrose even kick out?
And that stomp also, that's right on the shoulder as well.
And Seth Rollins looks perplexed. And, oh, you got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me, William Regal.
Look at this. Well,
Regal stretch applied from Seth Rollins onto Dean Ambrose.
That would be such a humiliation, I think that's what Seth is going here for.
The absolute excruciating pain that Dean Ambrose has to be experiencing right now.
Obviously, this is a submission move that I invented, and the pain is throughout your body.
He's biting him.
But the most stress goes onto the shoulder joint. There's also stress on the knee joints and the ankle joint, but the shoulder suffers greatly.
Look at this.
Very smart move by Seth Rollins.
You see a pure desperation, I think, out of Dean Ambrose to somehow survive.
Those two are right now, like you said, in survival mode. And it's great.
Rollins, Ambrose, these two men who know each other so well, giving it everything they've got at this moment inside this arena. And Rollins, perhaps sizing up his fiercest rival. Oh my God.
Irish whip right on the dislocated shoulder.
Ambrose is hurt. Big stomp again. Ambrose isn't moving. Rollins hooks the leg.
Here's your winner, and still Florida Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins.
What a battle.
Incredible.
What a match. What a competition between two of the greatest to ever step foot in this company.
It's nights like this that make me proud to be a part of professional wrestling. Truly.
This was a great match. I'm really happy to have been able to sit here and watch this match with you two, and this has been incredible. Look at all the people here. They truly appreciate this.
All I can say is wow, gentlemen. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, regardless of who the victor is, have earned a new level of respect in front of the entire FCW universe. For myself, Byron Saxton, Antonio Cesaro, and William Regal, the era of Rollins continues in Florida Championship Wrestling.